So I'm doing something a bit different for this video, as you've probably noticed. In the past, I did a video for every new episode of Digimon Adventure : but this time, I wanted to try bundling 5 episodes into one video. This is partially because at episode 25 we had just finished a major arc, so we had some downtime where episodes weren't very plot heavy. This is also partially because I'm lazy though, and didn't really feel like making a new video for each episode when it didn't feel like there was really that much to talk about. However, this will only be up to episode 29, as episode 30 I feel like warranted its own video, which will be coming out tomorrow. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into this. I'm going to go ahead and talk about each episode, followed by my immediate thoughts for each one. At the very end, I'll go into a bit more detail about my overall thoughts though. So episode 25 really shifted tone from the last few episodes. With Dawn Devimon defeated, the ground beneath the group fell through and Taichi, Yamato, Takeru, and all the Digimon started falling. Leomon and the gang meet up with them, and are able to grab them out of the air to rescue them from the immediate danger. However, Eldoradimon is still falling at a fast rate, and now Mamimon and Big Mamimon have appeared and are causing even more issues. Meanwhile, in the real world, Koshiro and his group are dealing with the Digimon on the net that are still causing issues in the real world. While they're here, Hikari shows up basically out of nowhere, and just stares at them the entire time. Seriously, it's a little creepy. Back in the digital world though, with their Digimon still weak from the battle with Dawn Devimon, Taichi and Yamato work together to come up with a plan to deal with the Mamemon and save Eldoradimon from plummeting to its doom. Overall, I thought this episode was just fine. It essentially acted like the Waymon episode from the original series, where they're traveling to the new continent. I did like that a good portion of the episode actually focused on Taichi and Yamato putting in effort to solve the problem though. And I kind of wish that they kept that throughout the episode rather than eventually having Greymon and Garurumon come out and help. That's just my own little nitpick though. Episode 26 is kind of more of the same, to be honest. In this episode, the group is riding on Eldoradimon and encounters Seadramon. After seeing it destroy and eat another Digimon, it evolves into Water Seadramon. The group here now has to not only deal with Water Seadramon, but also a Mega Seadramon, and even more just regular Seadramon that come to join the party. Back in the real world, nothing too different has happened from the last episode. The kids are still huddled around Koshiro's tablet, and are watching disasters happen around the world caused by the Digimon. Eventually, Hikari gets up with a blank stare and somehow teleports the kids back to the digital world, arriving just in time to save Taichi, Yamato, and Takeru from the enemies. Hikari joins the children, and all of the chosen children are finally together for the first time. The biggest thing for this episode that I enjoyed was that it showed off something that we never really saw in the original series: Digimon hunting each other for energy. We kind of knew this happened, especially those of us who have already seen Tamers, but seeing a Digimon actually hunt and eat another Digimon, consume its energy, and evolve from that was really cool to actually see. It also helped really set the tone for this upcoming arc and continent, as things are going to be a lot tougher for the kids from what they're used to. Something I didn't really like about this episode though was how they brought the other kids back to the digital world. Hikari just showed up, flashed some light, and then suddenly they were back right where they needed to be. This show has had a bunch of Deus Ex Machina plot conveniences, and Hikari Ex Machina is just another thing to add to that, I guess. Episode 27 showed the party finally arriving to the new continent. Before they're able to safely make land though, Eldoradimon is hit by a storm, and Leomon's group stays behind to protect him while the children fight an army of Tortamon to land safely. A Groundramon then appears and starts eating the Tortamon to gain their energy. Despite all of their Digimon evolving to their max level so far, they fail to break through the enemy's defenses until Metal Greymon uses the Alteris mode to open Groundramon's mouth, and all 6 Digimon fire together to destroy Groundramon from the inside. However, now wiped out from their battle, the children can do nothing when Dark Knightmon appears. Takeru and Patamon are the ones to step up, and Patamon evolves into Angemon to defend their friends. This episode was actually pretty alright, as it showed off one of my favorite things, which was all the kids fighting together against an enemy. Once again, we got to see the food chain come into play with Groundramon eating the Tortamon to become stronger, and the fight ended in a way that felt satisfying. I really appreciate it when the kids and the Digimon have to think to overcome their foe, rather than just unlocking a new evolution or power and then defeating it in one hit. Episode 28 begins with Angemon and Dark Knightmon battling. We see that Dark Knightmon is actually attempting to kidnap Hikari instead of Takeru now. It's not really too clear why, but then Angemon uses its power to blast away Dark Knightmon, but along with the other children in their Digimon, separating them. With their Digivices, they manage to communicate with each other, confirming that they're all safe and unharmed, but most of them are now being attacked or under threat by rogue Digimon. Taichi, Agumon, and Hikari are then attacked by Volcdramon. Metal Greymon tries to fight back, but is overpowered until Taichi and Hikari send both of their energy to him, which evolves him again briefly into the incomplete War Greymon that we've seen before. After the battle, Skull Knightmon appears and takes Hikari away with him, though it doesn't seem to be against her will. Honestly, I wasn't too sure how to feel about this episode. If I were to rank it, I would probably give it like a 5 out of 10. I did like seeing Angemon finally fight, but this sequence was a bit underwhelming. Then having the party get separated again just felt a little too forced. Like the writers are purposely separating them just to give them their own episodes for Mega Evolutions or something like that. I also didn't think that the appearance of War Greymon was all that necessary. It did show off that Hikari was definitely the reason for this transformation, as she's somehow able to bring out more power in Metal Greymon. But that's not really something I felt like we needed to see, or at least it's not something that we didn't already suspect before. But anyway, overall it was still a pretty alright episode. Episode 29 starts off with Taichi and Agumon running after Hikari and Skull Knightmon, but they fail to catch up with them. The forest around them starts being burned by an enemy of Automon and Megadramon, and they are forced to try and escape. While trying to escape, they help out a pack of Digimon who are also running from the fires. To help cover for them, Taichi and Greymon fight the enemy until the leader, a Tankdramon, appears. Greymon evolves into Metal Greymon, but it's still at a disadvantage against all the other enemies. Sora and Garudamon eventually show up to help, and together they are able to defeat Tankdramon. The episode ends though with more Alomon and Megadramon showing up with a silhouette of Parrotmon behind them. The one thing that I really liked about this episode was Sora coming to help. I've said this before, but I really don't think this series is doing enough for Sora and Piyomon. Their characters just seem way underdeveloped compared to this point in the original series, and they rarely get any time in the spotlight. Sora is definitely still the heart of the group, but only if you're specifically looking for that. I feel like anyone new to this series really doesn't see how much Sora actually does for the group, especially when compared to the other characters. However, seeing her come in and save Taichi and Metal Greymon was really cool, and it's giving me some hope that maybe she'll get some more focus if she's in a group with Taichi for the next few episodes. Though I'm also a little worried that the other characters are going to have solo episodes, and hers is going to be overshadowed with Taichi there. Anyway, all in all, I felt like all of these were very mid-level episodes to me. There was definitely some cool parts, like seeing how Digimon hunt and feed on each other, but for the most part, it just felt a little like filler for the next actual big arc. We did get introduced to Lopmon though, which for those who don't know can actually evolve into another holy Digimon, Cherubimon, so it will be interesting to see what might come from that. I'm still a bit sad that we haven't seen any casual episodes with the children and their Digimon yet though. So far, it just keeps being one battle after another, and from the look of it, that's how it's going to be from now on. Also, the whole way Hikari entered the group felt really strange to me. Her character so far seems really underdeveloped compared to the original series. I know I should try to avoid comparing this to the original if possible because it is its own thing, but I do want to just mention how different her character really is. One theory I did hear that I thought was interesting was that Hikari may actually be on the autistic spectrum. So far, personally, I don't really think that's what the writers intended, but I think it really is an interesting takeaway that you could have for her character, and it would be really cool if that turns out to be true. Being on the spectrum would be an interesting reason for her being abnormally quiet and having a history of just blankly staring off into space throughout her childhood. In the original series, Hikari just had a weak constitution as a kid and was always sick. So it could be really interesting if this adaptation took a different approach to make her a bit different from the others. That's just my personal thoughts though, but I'm interested in what you guys may think. Also, what did you just think of the episodes in general? I know I didn't really have too much to say about each of them, but did anything from them stand out to you? Now that we're almost halfway through the series, what are your thoughts on how it compares to the original? Leave those thoughts, or any others, in the comments down below. I'm going to try to catch up on these videos now that the holidays are over, so tomorrow will be the episode for episode 30, so look forward to that. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.